From famous Detroit legends to lesser-known beasts, these cars prove that raw horsepower is both thrilling and dangerous. And trust me, one of these street-legal monsters could leave a supercar behind. Let's fire them up. 1969 Dodge Charger Daytona, a car built for NASCAR dominance, yet street-legal enough to terrify anyone bold enough to floor it. It stretched aerodynamics to the extreme, long before spoilers were a fashion statement. Beneath the dramatic nose cone and towering rear wing lurked a 426 HEMI V8, cranking out 425 horsepower and 490 pound-feet of torque, enough to rocket it from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 5.6 seconds, blistering for 1969 standards. Its strength was raw speed and track-taming design. At over 200 miles per hour, it could slice through wind like a knife. This monster is the 1969 Dodge Charger Daytona. But beauty often came with danger. The long nose made steering twitchy, crosswinds could unsettle the car at high speeds, and the suspension, tuned for oval tracks, made corners a white-knuckle affair. Owners who underestimated it quickly found out. This wasn't a cruiser. It was a missile in disguise, wearing the clothes of a family car, daring you to test its limits, and often winning. 1970 Plymouth Superbird, a car with a nose so long it could double as a small airplane wing, yet somehow legal to drive on city streets. It was designed to dominate NASCAR, a bullet on wheels built to crush the competition, and it did just that. But it also came with quirks that made even skilled drivers second-guess themselves. Underneath that outrageous front end and sky-high rear wing lay a 426 HEMI V8, pumping out 425 horsepower and 490 pound-feet of torque, launching the Superbird from 0 to 60 miles per hour in roughly 5.5 seconds. At top speed, it could leave nearly anything on the asphalt behind. But speed wasn't its only danger. Meet the 1970 Plymouth Superbird. Its strengths were obvious: raw power, aerodynamics that sliced through wind, and a presence on the road that demanded respect. But the long nose made low-speed maneuvers tricky, and crosswinds at high speeds could unsettle the car instantly. The suspension, tuned for oval racing, made cornering a tense affair, turning routine curves into high-stakes moments. This was a car that looked like a cartoon and drove like a predator, street-legal, yet unforgiving. 1966 Shelby Cobra 427, a car that could terrify even the most seasoned drivers, wearing the shape of a compact British roadster, but hiding a beast under its hood. Lightweight, short, and brutally raw, it wasn't about comfort or subtlety. It was about sheer terror in motion. Beneath the sleek aluminum body sat a 427 cubic inch V8, producing 425 horsepower and 480 pound-feet of torque, propelling this featherweight rocket from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 4.2 seconds. Insane for 1966. Every throttle input demanded respect. Every corner was a calculated risk. One wrong move and the rear end would snap, reminding you this car was as unforgiving as it was fast. The 1966 Shelby Cobra 427 strengths were obvious: blistering acceleration, incredible agility, and a low-slung design that made it a predator on winding roads. But its flaws were just as real: minimal brakes by modern standards, a chassis that could feel twitchy under power, and no driver aids whatsoever. It wasn't built for the timid. Owning it meant courting danger with every press of the accelerator, an intoxicating thrill few cars could match. 1969 Chevrolet Corvette L88, a car that looks like a sleek American classic, but hides a monster beneath its elegant curves. The 1969 model may seem refined, but peel back the trim and you're staring at a race-bred legend. Under the hood roared a 427 cubic inch V8 L88, officially rated at 430 horsepower, though real-world numbers often exceeded 560 horsepower, with 460 pound-feet of torque ready to launch the car from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 4.8 seconds. Light for its size, raw in delivery, and merciless on the throttle, it demanded a driver who could keep up. or pay the price. This is the 1969 Chevrolet Corvette L88. Its strengths were unmatched: blistering acceleration, race-inspired suspension, and a presence that made other muscle cars feel sluggish in comparison. But flaws lurked beneath: primitive brakes, twitchy handling at speed, and a temperament that could easily overwhelm the unprepared. Few could tame it on the street, and that's exactly what made it legendary. And speaking of beasts that could outgun almost anything on the road, the next car on our list takes raw muscle to an entirely new level. 16. 1967 Chevrolet Camaro Z28, a car that looks like a street-friendly pony but hides a championship-worthy weapon beneath its hood. The first-generation Camaro wasn't just another Chevy. It was GM's answer to Mustang dominance, built for speed, precision, and pure adrenaline. Inside, a 302 cubic inch V8 delivered 290 horsepower and 290 pound-feet of torque, enough to push the car from 0 to 60 miles per hour in about 6.5 seconds. Modest on paper, but lightning fast in the hands of a skilled driver. Its lightweight body and sharp suspension made it nimble, but every corner reminded you that raw muscle could bite back. The 1967 Camaro Z28 proved that power alone wasn't enough. It demanded finesse, timing, and nerves of steel. Strengths like razor-sharp handling and a high-revving engine made it a thrill to drive. Yet flaws such as a twitchy rear end under heavy throttle and brakes that faded under pressure kept drivers constantly on edge. And just when you think muscle cars couldn't get any more intense, the next car on our list will push danger to entirely new heights. 15. 1969 Dodge Charger 500 HEMI, a car that looks almost ordinary at first glance until it's too late. What seems like a classic coupe hides a HEMI-fueled monster designed to dominate both drag strips and highways alike. Beneath the hood sits a 426 HEMI V8, delivering 425 horsepower and 490 pound-feet of torque, sending it from 0 to 60 miles per hour in a blistering 5.3 seconds. Its long, sleek body promised speed, but also demanded respect. Every throttle input could unleash unpredictable bursts of power that left tires screaming and drivers gripping the wheel. The 1969 Dodge Charger 500 HEMI was as dangerous as it was iconic. Its strengths were undeniable: raw, unfiltered power, aggressive acceleration, and a menacing presence on the road. But flaws lurked in every corner: twitchy handling at high speed, nose-heavy balance, and brakes that could fade under pressure made it unforgiving. And if you think that's wild, wait until the next muscle car takes danger to a whole new level. Don't forget to hit subscribe, because the ride is only getting crazier. 14. 1968 Dodge Dart HEMI, a seemingly modest compact, yet underneath, a race-bred beast waited to pounce. Its unassuming lines hit a 426 HEMI V8, cranking out 425 horsepower and 490 pound-feet of torque, enough to launch this lightweight dart from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 5.4 seconds. On paper, it might look like a simple street car, but push that throttle, and it transforms into a white-knuckle predator. Its size made it agile, its engine made it lethal, and every corner became a test of nerves. The 1968 Dodge Dart HEMI proved that danger doesn't always wear an aggressive face, but the flaws were equally clear: narrow tires that struggled for grip, a suspension tuned for short sprints rather than smooth streets, and brakes that required careful management. And just when you think muscle cars can't get any more extreme, the next entry will push sheer power into terrifying territory. 13. 1964 Pontiac GTO, a car that sparked a revolution, yet on the streets, it could bite back hard. Its unassuming lines and clean design disguised a performance monster waiting to roar. Under the hood, a 389 cubic inch V8 churned out 325 horsepower and 431 pound-feet of torque, propelling this pioneering muscle car from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 6 seconds. For its time, it was blisteringly fast, but its raw energy demanded respect. This wasn't a car to treat lightly. Every press of the accelerator reminded drivers that they were handling history in motion, and history could be unforgiving. The 1964 Pontiac GTO, first of its name, was as influential as it was dangerous. Its strengths were immediate: straight-line speed that left competitors stunned, a smooth yet powerful engine, and the kind of presence that made heads turn. But flaws existed in equal measure. Rudimentary brakes, a suspension that struggled under power, and torque that could easily overpower the narrow tires. And if you think muscle cars had peaked here, wait until the next entry hits the road with even more ferocity. 12. 1970 Chevrolet Chevelle SS 454 LS6. A car that looks like a heavyweight cruiser but harbors a monster under its hood. Its broad, muscular stance hints at power, yet the true danger lies in the engine bay. Beneath the hood roars a 454 cubic inch LS6 V8, producing a staggering 450 horsepower and 500 pound-feet of torque, capable of blasting the Chevelle from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 5 seconds. For 1970, this was almost unthinkable. Raw speed packaged in a seemingly approachable body. But that power came with a price. Every launch demanded respect. Every corner required nerves of steel. The 1970 Chevrolet Chevelle SS 454 LS6 was a straight-line terror, known for leaving anything else on the strip in its dust. Its strengths were undeniable: immense torque, blistering acceleration, and a presence that made even seasoned muscle car drivers cautious. Yet flaws were equally apparent. Brakes that struggled under repeated stops, a suspension tuned for drag strips rather than corners, and a rear end eager to step out if mishandled. And just when you think power has a limit, the next car on our list takes street terror to an entirely new dimension. 11. 1970 Plymouth HEMI Cuda. A car that looks like a classic coupe, but every inch screams danger. Its bold stance and aggressive lines hint at performance, yet the real threat is hidden beneath the hood. Equipped with a 426 HEMI V8, the Cuda produces 425 horsepower and 490 pound-feet of torque, rocketing it from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 5.3 seconds. Lightweight for its size, it's a car that can bully almost anything on the street, but the sheer power comes with a constant warning. One misstep and control disappears in an instant. The 1970 Plymouth HEMI Cuda was built for dominance, combining raw acceleration with a menacing presence that demanded respect. Its strengths were clear: blistering speed, ferocious torque, and the kind of aggression that made rivals think twice. But its flaws were just as stark: twitchy handling at the limit, brakes that needed careful modulation, and a suspension tuned more for drag strips than winding roads. And just when you think the Cuda has set the standard, the next muscle car takes raw HEMI power and mixes it with pure street fury. 10. 1969 Ford Mustang Boss 429. A car that looks like a pony but hides a monster bred for the drag strip. Its aggressive stance and wide hood scoop barely hint at the fury within. Underneath sits a 429 cubic inch V8, pumping out 375 horsepower and 450 pound-feet of torque, capable of pushing this heavyweight Mustang from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 5.4 seconds. Its massive engine demanded respect. Too much throttle, and the rear end would break loose instantly, reminding drivers that raw power isn't always forgiving. Step inside the world of the Boss 429 Mustang, a machine where brute strength meets race-bred precision. Acceleration is immense, torque punches hard, and the car's presence alone makes other vehicles feel sluggish. Yet it's not without flaws: a heavy nose, twitchy handling at speed, and brakes that demand careful timing. And just when you think muscle cars can't get any wilder, the next entry ramps danger to a whole new level. Which of these street-legal monsters would you dare to drive first? Let us know in the comments below. 9. 1971 Plymouth GTX 440 6-pack. A car that looks like it could quietly cruise Main Street, but under the hood, chaos waits. This machine hides a 440 cubic inch 6-pack V8, producing 375 horsepower and 480 pound-feet of torque, capable of rocketing it from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 5.5 seconds. Lightweight for its size and armed with triple two-barrel carburetors, it delivers a thunderous punch with every press of the accelerator. But raw power is a double-edged sword. One wrong move and its tail could snap around, leaving even experienced drivers scrambling. Enter the 1971 Plymouth GTX 440 6-pack, a muscle car built for straight-line domination but full of surprises on the corners. Its strengths are undeniable: explosive acceleration, a commanding presence presence and a torque-rich engine that thrills and intimidates in equal measure. Yet its flaws are just as real. Brakes that demanded careful management, a suspension more suited to drag strips than winding roads, and a rear end eager to step out if provoked. The next car on our list, however, takes twitchy handling and raw muscle to an entirely new level. 8. 1969 AMC AMX 390. A car that looks almost compact, yet hides a fury that could overwhelm anything in its path. Short wheelbase, wide stance, and a deceptively small frame conceal a 390 cubic inch V8, cranking out 315 horsepower and 430 pound-feet of torque, sending the AMX from 0 to 60 miles per hour in roughly 6 seconds. Its size makes it nimble, but that same agility amplifies every twitch, every burst of torque, turning ordinary corners into high-stakes challenges. One misstep, and it's instantly reminding drivers that raw muscle comes with no forgiveness. The 1969 AMC AMX 390 was a compact muscle car that packs an outsized punch. Its strengths are explosive acceleration, lightweight agility, and a presence that makes it impossible to ignore on the road. But its flaws are equally clear. A short wheelbase that can make high-speed handling twitchy, brakes that need careful timing, and a torque-hungry engine that demands respect. And just when you think compact muscle cars can't scare seasoned drivers, the next entry steps up the street-legal danger like never before. 7. 1970 Dodge Challenger RT 440 six-pack. A car that could easily blend in at a drive-in, but every time you hit the gas, it announces its presence like a thunderclap. Beneath the long hood sits a 440 cubic inch six-pack V8, producing 375 horsepower and 480 pound-feet of torque, rocketing the Challenger from 0 to 60 miles per hour in about 5.5 seconds. Its wide stance and muscular body suggest dominance, but the real danger lies in its raw, unfiltered delivery, power that doesn't forgive mistakes, especially around corners. Meet the 1970 Dodge Challenger RT 440 six-pack, a car built to assert itself on both strip and street. Its strengths are obvious: blistering straight-line speed, a torque-rich engine that demands respect, and a commanding presence on the road. Yet flaws lurk in every detail: suspension tuned more for drag racing than tight turns, brakes that require anticipation, and a rear end prone to stepping out if provoked. And just when you think American muscle can't get more menacing, the next entry pushes danger into uncharted territory. 6. 1969 to 1970 Mustang Mach 1. A car that could pass for a typical Mustang until the throttle proves otherwise. Sleek lines and a sporty profile hide a ferocious 428 cubic inch V8, producing 335 horsepower and 440 pound-feet of torque, launching the Mach 1 from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 6.0 seconds. Its power delivery is raw, immediate, and unfiltered, demanding focus with every press of the accelerator. Handling feels responsive, but that same responsiveness turns corners into high-stakes tests of skill. One misjudged input, and the rear end reminds you who's really in charge. The 1969 to 1970 Mustang Mach 1 was a muscle car that balances street presence with unrelenting aggression. Its strengths are thrilling acceleration, a bold engine note, and a chassis that responds instantly to the driver's command. Yet its flaws are apparent: brakes that need careful management, a torque-hungry engine that can overpower tires, and a suspension tuned for excitement over comfort. And if you think you've seen muscle cars at their peak, stick around. The next entry takes danger to a whole new level. Don't forget to hit subscribe. More ferocious machines are coming your way. 5. 1967 to 68 Ford Mustang GT 390. A car that looks effortlessly cool, but every inch hides tension and power. The long hood and sleek stance hint at muscle, but under the surface lurks a 390 cubic inch V8, delivering 320 horsepower and 427 pound-feet of torque, capable of propelling this Mustang from 0 to 60 miles per hour in around 6.0 seconds. Its engine isn't just strong, it's eager, responding instantly to any throttle input and making every corner a test of nerve. One slip, and the car reminds you that street-legal muscle can bite hard. Known on the streets and silver screens alike, the Bullitt-era Mustang GT 390 combines style style with unrelenting performance. Torque-rich acceleration, agile handling, and a commanding presence make it unforgettable, but flaws lurk beneath. Brakes requiring careful timing, a suspension that can feel twitchy at speed, and a temperament that can overwhelm inexperienced drivers. And just when you think classic muscle has reached its limits, the next entry pushes both power and danger to an entirely new level. 4. 1970 Oldsmobile 442 W30, a car that looks like a classic American cruiser, but hiding a fury that could shake the streets. Its long, aggressive stance hints at power, yet beneath the hood waits a 455 cubic inch W30 V8, delivering 370 horsepower and 500 pound-feet of torque, capable of launching this heavyweight from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 5.4 seconds. The acceleration hits hard, the torque is relentless, and one wrong move could turn a smooth ride into a white-knuckle experience. On the road, the 1970 Oldsmobile 442 W30 is a force to be reckoned with. Its strengths are undeniable: blistering straight-line speed, a thunderous engine note, and a commanding presence that makes other cars feel small. Yet it has flaws: a heavy chassis that tests cornering, brakes that require careful modulation, and raw power that punishes any lapse in control. And just when you think American muscle has reached its peak, the next car takes everything up a notch, and then some. 3. 1969 Mercury Cougar Eliminator 428 CJ, a car that looks like a refined luxury coupe, but lurking beneath the polished exterior is a beast that doesn't apologize. Its sleek lines and understated presence hide a 428 cubic inch Cobra Jet V8, producing 335 horsepower and 440 pound-feet of torque, capable of rocketing it from 0 to 60 miles per hour in roughly 5.8 seconds. The power hits instantly, the rear tires struggle to grip, and even experienced drivers can feel the car's raw intent with every turn of the wheel. Enter the 1969 Mercury Cougar Eliminator 428 CJ, a muscle car that proves sophistication and aggression can coexist. Its strengths are brutal acceleration, a torque-rich engine that commands attention, and a presence that makes onlookers take notice. But flaws remain: heavy body weight that tests cornering, suspension that rewards caution, and brakes that demand respect. And just when you think muscle cars have shown their limits, the next car on our list will take raw American power and turn it into something truly terrifying. 2. 1970 Buick GSX Stage 1, a car that looks like a luxury cruiser until the throttle proves it's anything but gentle. Its long, sleek body hides a 455 cubic inch Stage 1 V8, producing 360 horsepower and a monstrous 510 pound-feet of torque, capable of propelling the GSX from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 5.3 seconds. Lightweight for its size and designed for unrelenting straight-line speed, it's a machine that demands respect. Push it too hard, and the rear tires will remind you who's really in charge. On the road, the 1970 Buick GSX Stage 1 is deceptively dangerous, blending muscle with the kind of presence only a Buick could pull off. Its strengths are immense torque, blistering acceleration, and a street-legal power that could leave nearly anything behind. But every gift has its price: a hefty chassis that punishes corners, suspension tuned for drag strips rather than tight turns, and brakes that require careful management. And just when you think you've seen ultimate muscle, the final car on our list will redefine danger entirely. 1. 2006 to 2013 Chevrolet Corvette Z06, a car that looks like a modern supercar, but every inch screams untamed American muscle. Its sharp lines and aggressive stance hint at capability, yet beneath the hood lurks a 7-liter LS7 V8, producing 505 horsepower and 470 pound-feet of torque, rocketing the Corvette Z06 from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 3.7 seconds. Lightweight for its class and engineered for precision, it's a car that delivers blistering speed and razor-sharp handling. But any hesitation behind the wheel instantly reminds you how serious it is. The Chevrolet Corvette Z06 LS7 is a modern legend. Its strengths are immense power, power, razor-like responsiveness, and a presence that dares anyone to challenge it. Yet it's not without flaws. Throttle is unforgiving for the uninitiated. Tires can be easily overwhelmed, and the raw torque demands respect. Closing out our list, this car proves that danger isn't just a relic of the past. American muscle evolved, and it became faster, sharper, and deadlier than ever before. Which one of these beasts would you take out for a midnight spin? No flash, no flex, just raw, unfiltered muscle. Drop your pick in the comments below, hit that like button, and make sure you're subscribed, because the next round is going deeper into the underground. We're talking cars so wild they nearly broke the rules. Engines so untamed they shocked even the pros. Stick around. What's coming next will make these legends feel tame.